Hey, good morning, everybody. Dano the Rust Buster, once again in Lantana, Florida, with the Danny 68 GTO. Yesterday was a bright, sunny day, and I was full of energy, so I rocked on and pushed pretty good. Check this out. I got this pretty much cleaned up, dressed in. You know, still got a ways to go. Now it's ready for body work. You can see if you get up close, this is where these tie-ins are important. There's a piece that goes here, and if it's not put in just right, the radius, it either moves in or out, it'll hit the underside of the trunk. I've had problems with those before, but this one went pretty good. And I was talking before about how when this gets fitted up, how the fender can move up and down, and that's done by once you get a corner of it down here and you're clamped down. This section, when it's all loose, when you lift, open and close this gap, the tighter this gap, it goes forward, and that brings this corner of the fender down. The higher, when you pull on it, it lifts it. So that's one of those tricks where I pull it up and tack it, and if it's not right, I cut the tack and do it again and again and again and again. And the higher you lift it, that makes this move up. It's this whole dance. You know how they did it at the factory, I'm not quite sure. When they're running through the assembly line, they got all these fixtures and jigs, and they just bang them out. But doing it after the fact, when you take it apart and all the pieces are loose, that's where it gets really tricky. And if you look on this side, this gap and this gap are just about they're just about the same. It's really going to come in nice, because once that bumper goes up and lays in there, that gap has got to be the same all the way across. It's really easy to mess those up. And after it comes out of paint, that's it. There's no going back unless you start cutting up the paint. And nowadays, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 paint jobs are the norm. And that's where the rear panel is. I want to show you this. This is the rocker. This is the rocker panel for the passenger side. Yesterday I fit up the driver's side, and what they give you is pretty much a copy of the original piece. But I only like to go on this car. This part was good on the car, so where I made my seam, I like to make my seam where I can disguise it and it blends in, and leaving as much of the original metal as possible where you can. So I took it off right at this section, and that was to the sill. And then on the bottom, this flange, if it's right side up, this is the flange that's underneath the car. And from the factory, you can see all the pinch welds, spot welds. And if you're looking at a car and you want to see how much of it has been reworked, you look at this flange, and if you see the butt welds that I would use if I was to do that, then you'd know that it's replaced. Okay, you take a couple of points off for that. Value points is what I'm talking about. But if you get up underneath there and you see the original spot welds, you got something good going on. This one somehow is blown out as the sides were. The top was good, the bottom was good. That flange all along the bottom and this side, with the exception of about 1.25 inches, are all original, which is very exciting for me. That's another bonus that optimizes the value. So on this one, on this one rather, I trimmed that off and I welded it up so it'll be an inside weld, and I'll be able to fill it. So when somebody looks underneath there, they're really going to be hard. They're going to see that it was done right, and the original hem, their flange rather, was maintained and like that. So if you remember from the previous video, that was really blown out. And yesterday it took me all of 5 hours to put that rocker in. Some of them go fast, some of them take a while. You don't know what you're going to find inside. And let me show you what I did. Come on over. Well, here it is. Like I said, I made the seam right here so that this is factory original here to here, and I cut it, left a little bit left, probably 1/8 of an inch, and put the replacement on top of it. And you can see the gaps in the welds. This is ready to be filled and dressed. Underneath it goes down, and like the flange that I was telling you, if you remember from the other video, this was really shot. Okay, and the way that it goes together, the way the car goes together, this is like a saddle. It meets up here to here and overlays here. This is one part. The sill is the other. The rocker actually is underneath there. So as you see, what I did was I restored it so that it's still where it was. I didn't fill these seams. This is supposed to be here from the factory. If you bought the car brand new from the dealer, you'd see this overlap. There's going to be a little bit more dressing and detail work, but all this, I hand formed up here. It's a loose radius, very loose, and then when it gets down to the bottom, it's almost to a point, almost to a tight radius. These are really hard to do. To get it to curve this way and this way, get it to go straight down, the way it ties in from here to here, the distance isn't supposed to be exactly the same. It's supposed to be like this, and you can see it from the other side. But that's very workable from the body guy perspective. Now, this is something that I was telling you about as well. There's the seam. That's where it's at, right there. The rocker is formed in like that, and then this piece that I cut out from here to somewhere up here, I put a return on it so that they're both like that, the way they came from the factory. And I filled it, and so now when the body shop gets it, they're going to fill it again. They're going to hit it with poly seam seal and detail it, and that's going to be nice and straight and exactly the way it came. That's a big feature, I would call it, and that's nice and straight, as you see. When it gets down to the end, cameraman from this side, you can see inside here that this is very typical, all in here. And once I work in zones, so today I'm going to work on the other rocker. Leave this alone. This is finished off. When I get to it, we'll take off the rear wheels, and then I'll work on the insides on both sides, because these flanges, they have to be like that as well. The way that it goes in, that's really important for optimizing the value of the car. And that's right about where we are on this. Later on, or in the next video, what I like to go over is the prices of some of this stuff. This car is perfect for that because it's got, it had the full trunk, so I can tell you how much that cost him. I can't estimate these jobs because you don't know until you get in there how they are, but I might be able to get you somewhere to show you the work that I did on this and how much it cost, and you might be able to get a better idea of what you're looking at and how we would go about it. Until then, it is very overcast. Yesterday there wasn't a cloud in the sky, and there was a lot of sun beating on this old boy. But I stepped right up like usual. I don't mind the heat and the sun at all. I'd rather but today it's like I say, it's a little cool, overcast, and we'll do the other rocker and take it from there. Until then, have yourself a nice day, y'all.